Hello devs, welcome back to another part. So at the end of the last video I was like, go away, design your new task window by just copying off mine, create some styles and try and get it as close as possible. I presume everybody did great because there was no comments or anything, so that's fantastic. So we're going to move on to the file system. So we're going to be setting up our file system. Let's get into it. So first of all, I want to create another folder. We use data services, so we want to create a new class called task data service. So add class, and this is task data service. We'll have that. We want to add a few. Let's make that public. I wish there were a way I could do that by default. I'm pretty sure there probably is somewhere, but I'm not sure how. So first, let's add a private read-only string. And this is going to be underscore file path, then private read only string going to be folder name, because I'm really regretting calling this application task turner now because I don't know, I don't like it, but never mind, it's only the name. String, this one's going to be called file name, tasks dot JSON. We're going to be using JSON to store our data. Now we just need to make the constructor public task data service. So first of all, we need to get the path to the app data, which is our special folder on the system. ASP app data path equals environment dot get folder path dot special folder dot app data. Then we need to get the folder of the application in roaming. String app folder equals path dot combine app data path, and then folder name. So that's just combining the two strings together. If you didn't notice, then it actually automatically added system.io to me, so if you're getting any kind of errors you might need to put system.io. Alternatively, if you do ever get a red line, you can just hover over the code where it's giving you the red line, and then like a little warning box will appear. If you just click on that, it usually gives you like a list of things that you can do to fix it. So then we need to get the data folder inside the app. Then we'll do string data folder equals path dot combine, and then app folder, and we're just gonna call that folder data. So now we need to check if that file exists. Sorry, the directory, not the file, I mean. So we'll say if directory exists, data folder, then we will say directory dot create directory, and then we want to use data folder. So we're checking if it doesn't exist, not if it does exist. So we'll do create the directory if the folder doesn't exist. Okay, so now we want to define the path to the JSON file. So, and then we'll just do file path equals path dot combine, and then data folder file name. We'll create a new method that will ensure the JSON file exists, and then we'll just call this initialize file. We've got a red line obviously because that's the method doesn't actually exist. So if you go over it and you press control and then period, it'll give you like a list of things that you can do. What we want is a generate method, so that's just created that for us. Right, so we want to check if the file exists. If, well, I suppose it's checking if it doesn't exist again. File dot exists, we want to do that underscore file path, and then we'll do file dot write all text underscore file path JSON converter. I don't think we've installed the install package So if you do what I said before, control and period over the red line, and then we'll just go to install package JSON and then just find the latest version. And then once that's installed, we can serialize object. JSON convert dot serialize object, and then that's going to be new list task. It's going to initialize the JSON file. Obviously, we don't have anything to put in there yet. Right, so we need to see that this is working. So let's. So we actually want to start a process. So we want to say process. This is process.start, and then we'll say path dot combine environment dot get folder path environment dot special folder dot data. We'll just send it to there, and then we'll find actually no, we won't. We'll give it the folder name. Oh, we're doing that. It's all right. Oops. And then folder name. So that should open up in our folder when the application has started. So when it's initialized the file, then it'll open it for us, just for debugging purposes. Obviously now we need to add some methods to read and write to our data file, but it might be a good point just to check it now. And to do that, we'll need to go into our class, a new view model, and we're going to call it task view model, because I've just remembered that it's going to be interacting with the new task window. So I think we should create a new task view model separately for it. So let's just extend this to notify property changed. Just hover over that and then choose implement interface. Protected virtual void on property changed, string property name, and then property changed, invoke this new property changed args, and then property name. Come up here, let's create our task view model constructor, and then in this we'll say task data equals new service, and that's just initializing the data service. Okay, so now we're just gonna go back over to, in fact, let's tidy this up a little bit. So if you right click on here, I'm just gonna close all but this one, just clean up our tabs, and I will reopen that one because we need that. But for now, we just need to create some methods. So we've created our initialize file. So we need to load tasks. So we'll create a load tasks method. So public, because we need to access it from outside of this class. List, it needs to be a list because we need to bring back a list of tasks. And then this will be task. So this will bring back a list of tasks from our JSON file. So load tasks. So read, and do you know what? I'm going to say something now that always confuses me as a programmer, because the majority of everything that you read as a programmer is written in American English. I still to this day get confused whether even when I'm writing comments and stuff, whether I actually write it in English or I write it in American English. And I don't know why it's so confusing to me. It's almost like I want to write it in the American way because American people might see it, but then I'm like, no, because I speak English. It's a really silly thing, but even sometimes when I'm writing colour, if I'm writing colour on a piece of paper, I will never write it the American way, which is C-O-L-O-R. I'll always spell it the English way, C-O-L-O-U-R. And it's a really silly thing, but it's something that always annoys me. I think I just did it on the initialized as well. Yeah, no, yeah, I did. I wrote it in American English, but I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. Anyway, moving on. So load task, we want to create a string, and we'll call it file content, and then equals file.read all text underscore file path. So we're going to read all the text in that file path, which is the JSON file, and then we will return JSON convert dot deserialize object list task, and then file content. So that's one method. Now we want to save. So public void save tasks, and this is going to take in a tasks. So in this one, we need to serialize and write the list of tasks to the JSON file. So string JSON equals JSON convert dot serialize object, and that's going to take the task, and formatting dot indented, and file dot write all text underscore file path JSON. That's our save tasks method created. Now public void add task. Before we can actually create this, we need to generate an ID, so it's a unique ID every time we create a new task. So we'll need to create a new public int, and we'll just call it generate new task ID. So it's going to return an int. Do void tasks equals load load tasks if tasks. So we're saying .ini. So if there's no tasks yet, then we'll just return 1. So return 1, or we'll just do int max ID equals tasks dot max t dot task. Yeah, just ID, t.id. So we're going to find the highest ID number from inside our tasks, and then we'll return it. Return max ID plus 1. So right, so now we can actually add our task now. So we'll say new task. Sorry, we need to do, where's it do that? So task, new task dot ID equals generate task ID. Task ID cannot be assigned to, it's read only. Bear with me. Okay, silly lucky mistake. I should have probably known this anyway. So this is, I was getting so confused, because if you come over to the task, the task model, it's set to get set, and the only reason why we would be getting that issue if it was just get, but it is set to get set. So I was like, why is it not working? But then I've realized that I'm using tasks under threading, so that's really important that you don't. So if you delete that using system.threading.tasks, as you can see, all this was using that. So if I just hover over it and make sure you're using models under your application name, and that should work. Yeah, so that's got rid of that error. That took me about 10 minutes to figure out. I was getting so confused. Okay, so we've we need to add the task. So I'll go by tasks, task equals load task, and then we'll say task dot add new task, and then save tasks task. So basically what's happening here is we are generating a new ID number. We are loading the tasks from the JSON file. We are adding the new task to the returned string, JSON string, and then we are saving the new JSON string. Just adding a bit of comment so you understand what's actually happening. Let's close that for now. We don't need that again. So we've got add task. We need to update task. So these are all pretty straightforward once you realize how to do them. So void update task, and then update task, and then in this one we'll say void task equals load tasks. We'll say void task index equals tasks dot find index. ID equals update task dot ID, and if task index is not equal -1, then task index equals update task, and then save task. Okay, so essentially what's happening here, again, we are loading the JSON string, getting the ID of, so we're getting the, well, we're checking basically. We're checking for the ID that matches the update task ID, and this is checking to see if it's valid, and then we are getting that task with the index of updated task, and then we're saving the task that's being passed through. So if you think about, you've got all the tasks, and then we're finding the one that's got the same index as the update task that we've passed through here, and then we're setting that data within the JSON list to what we've updated. So maybe it's the date or the title or blah blah blah. Then this is where we're assigning that, and then we're saving it. Int task, we'll need the ID. So void tasks, again we'll just be loading the tasks dot remove at t dot id task id. Oh sorry, not remove at, it's remove all. I was getting confused there. Save tasks. So again, what we're doing here is we are and I think that is all we need for this file. So now we need to head on back to our task view model, and there's a few things that we need to do over here now. So first of all, we're going to create a private observable collection. So that is under the object model, this one here. Task, and then we'll just task, and we need to create a property for this. So a public property. So public observable collection task, and let's call it task. And then we'll do get, and this is underscore task. And then set, and this is going to be underscore tasks equals value, and this is where the magic comes in. This is where we call our on property change, and then we pass through the name of our property, which is, so we do name of tasks. Wow. Make sure you put the name of, because it takes a string. So that's our property created. Now we're kind of just repeating what we did over in our data file. We're just kind of creating the methods that we created over there. So we'll do private void load tasks or task list equals task data service dot load tasks, and then we'll say tasks equals new observable collection task, and then task list. Why are we getting an error? Models task. Oh, see, I've done that again. That's not what we want. This is the silly boy. Right, so that's our load task. So we'll do public void add new task. Task new task. Task data service dot add task new task, and then load tasks. Private, I put that as public. I suppose doesn't really matter. And I might public. I'll put it as public just in case. Update task. Sorry, this is a little bit boring, this bit, but it's starting to come together now. We'll be able to interact with our application soon. I want to get all these done rather than just testing them one at a time, just to save time basically. Task data service dot update task, then load task, and just one for delete. Public void delete task, and then in this one we just pass through an integer, which is just for the task ID, and then data dot delete task ID again, and then we'll just reload it. I think that's it for our task view model for now. I'm just going to pause it and I'll comment all this for you just so you can have a quick read through it, just in case there's anything that you're not understanding. Right, so I got a little bit carried away there, but yeah, just have a read through that. If there's anything that you're not understanding about what's going on here, then just have a quick look through that, and it should give you a bit of an overview of what's happening in these methods. All there is left to do now is actually instantiate our task view model. So if we go into our code behind for our main window, so main window and then our code behind, underneath this we'll do this dot data context equals new tasks task. Oh, we actually need to make that public. Another little tip for you: if you're like hovering over this, it's got the red line. If you want to get to this method, then, or this constructor in this case, then you can actually press Control and click on it, and it'll take you to that, the issue where that is. It's quite an handy little trick. So we've added that. Now when we load our application, if everything's gone okay, then we should go to the folder where the JSON file is. Let's try. And there we go. That's loaded our data file. There's our tasks.json, and when we open it, there's nothing in it because we haven't got anything, but there's the structure of our JSON file. That's really good to know. Hello. Oh, right. Okay. So because I've added this, it's taken away from this. So what I'll need to do in our main folder, our button, what we'll need to do in here is button dot data context VM, and then we'll put our main data context there because we're using this command from within here. So fingers crossed that works. We don't need to see that anymore, but there you go. So that's fixed that. Right, so we've got everything, all our methods and everything sorted for our new tasks and everything. So in the next part, we will be actually implementing our list. I know we didn't do anything that I said that I was going to do in the last part, and I think that's what the difference is between. I should never say what we're doing in the next part, so I apologise. I did say we were going to add them to here, but I think we did something even more important, which is to get all our methods ready for actually implementing the list and everything. But I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next part.